Welcome back to another episode of Meant Event Podcast News. My name is Jaime, and I want to thank everybody out there who takes time out their day to come and hang out with me while I do my news reactions. Really means a lot. So just so you know. And with that said, let's have fun with some of these crazy ass news that's going on right now, shall we? So strap on your seatbelts and let's get on to it. You know, it's starting to feel like to me like this is going to be a battle between good and evil. And you know, everybody always says when you go to good and evil, everybody's looking up for the good and they're looking down for the bad. You know, the up, way up high and then way down low in the underworld, for the bad, And I feel like everybody right now, in a weird way, I feel like sometimes in this, it feels like they're against God right now. It feels like more than ever when you look at things, I feel like they're trying to just push these things and these narratives against God. Again, and all politics aside right now, I mean, I'm going to get to it. But just, all politics aside right now, like, I find it hard. I find it hard to agree with why or find a way why they want God out of our lives, and it kind of bothers me. I mean, I'm a big sports fan, and when you see the live athletes sometimes when you're watching live sport events, they'll be sitting out there and they'll start to do their little thankful speeches. Maybe they're going to Disneyland, who knows, and then all of a sudden they want to go and give the glory to God. And all of a sudden you have some weird technical difficulties. Their mic accidentally cuts off. Weird things start to happen. And just because of those topics that start to happen. I mean, I watch fights. There was a fight just last Saturday, and it just happens there. The mic just starts acting all weird. Audio automatically just mysteriously cuts off, and then it comes back in. And some people are pretty slick, and they start to say weird things and kind of slick in, stick in their quick praise to God, and then they're like, "Hey, man," and they, try to recap with some delay, But it's really wild when when you're watching sports and you see these things happening. Even back in the day, like they didn't even like when that Tim Tebow player who was very religious. I mean, he would score a touchdown or do a good play and want to kneel down and start praying, and people just seem to have a weird problem with it. It's kind of wild to me. Seems like they're trying to take it out of schools. It seems like they're just trying to take it out of everything. And like all the new TV shows and all the number one movies are always like these scary, like devilistic type of evil movies. I mean, like there was a show called Lucifer, and there was a show like, all these movies that are just like dark and, more, they're trying to revamp like all these like evil exorcism type movies and stuff like that. And it's kind of weird. It's just like, that's what they're like when was the last that we know that was like heavily promoted of like a really feel good, like religious type of movie like that? I don't know. I'm looking for it. I mean, they did one that was God Was Real, and that was a long time ago. That was like a long time ago. And then what did they do after that? They came out with like The Conjuring. They were like, "Oh yeah, here's Insidious and Conjuring." They just hit them with a counter punch, like really quick. But I just feel like they're just trying to really push this thing, and it kind of worries me because there's so many things that can be affected with this. It seems like right now they don't never want us to persevere. Like they don't want us to have like any kind of feel good moments anymore. Like as soon as you feel like, back in the day we used to be able to get mad at something and dwell on one thing, but there's just so many things to get mad about anymore. We're just a big bubble of stress. Like everybody, stress levels are on the rise, depression levels are on the rise. And I think it's all by design. As crazy as it sounds, I think it's all by some weird design. Like there's somebody out there, doing the math and calculations and like, look at what happens with this. And they're trying to mock us in movies and some of this. Like go watch that film, They Cloned Tyrone. It's a really funny, sci-fi kind of film. But when you look at the story, how they kind of say some of them films kind of reflect reality type things. It's kind of like they're mocking us when they're like, "Oh, watch what this music does," or "Watch what this flour does when they bread the chicken," like all this weird things happening. And it feels like they're like purposely designing this chaos. Also, like I said, with this stuff going out of control in politics, I mean, that's another thing that people are going crazy and can't really have their choices anymore because every radio station wants to push this and push that, and every TV commercial wants to push this and push that. Ads everywhere, just, this person, go this way, choose this. And that's where I come back to that they live aspect. I feel like that was the metaphor of the whole thing. Like, choose, obey this person, consume all this crap, And I feel like they just push it down our throats all the time while this other craziness is going on in our news. You know, like people are suffering, you know, from hurricanes. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And then they said there was like minimal money to help them with relief and things like that. And then the New York Post comes out and puts a picture that totally puts an article out that just totally contradicts that ass. You know, it totally contradicts that ass for them for lying, because another design for us to have more chaos, right? Who are you trying to help here? You know, that's when you talk about that design. Like, you get people all mad and riled up. And like I said before, it's like a weird metaphor for you guys, but I would say like when you go to the movie theater and you see that popcorn bubbling and the kernels are sitting there and then the popcorn happens, I feel like that's what they do to us. They make us, you know, they heat us up and we're the popcorn kernels, and then we all start popping up out of control, and we're the ones hurting each other, and we're the ones getting hurt in the process from the actual process, you know, these designs, and we're actually hurting each other for it instead of the ones that were the designers. Like, we go at each other. And they're sitting here back there, you know, benefiting from us beating each other, beating all the popcorn up, you know, of us popping off. You know, they benefit from us popping off. And like when I talk about, you know, how they want to all the time, you know, say that, oh, it's the borders aren't as bad as they are and things aren't as bad as they are. But then when you hear from citizens, you see that they're pretty damn bad. And, you know, God forbid anything does happen where we have to, you know, straight up maybe go to war with some of these people here. Like, oh, what if something odd, some instability happens, and, you know, hypothetically, and all of a sudden we have to go and fight. There's some weird laws that would prevent us from getting military help on our own land. And I caught this little video clip and went and looked it up, but that Latin term or whatever that is like a real thing. Let's just take a look.
Send the army in there and take the White House back.
Actually, I don't think you can do that. Posse Comitatus and the Insurrection Act make it very difficult to deploy combat troops on American soil.
So when I looked it up, I guess that law really does exist. You know, it'd be really difficult for them to just shoot out troops over here if something happened on our own land, which is wild. When you think, wouldn't you just want to automatically have a push button to like protect America? You know, should be a protect America button. You know, and it shouldn't be like with nukes. It should be like send the troops here, not like follow the rules now. You know, like there would be some shit if they left us hanging like that. You know, if something really went, that would be some stuff right there. That would be crazy, because I feel like the children are like the most under attack. You know, like that's one of the most rarest forms of innocence we have left in this world. You know, a child doesn't know nothing but love when they're born. All they want to do is just, you know, hug their mom and dad. And now they know who their grandma is, and they know who their brother or siblings are, and they know who their pets are. And they don't know all that other stuff till they're taught it. You know, and like I feel like now it's like when they're at schools, they used to be cool, and now you don't know what they're doing at your schools. You see what they're talking about. The kids were getting sleepy stickers on their hands and crazy things like that. Like, how many parents knew about that? You know what I mean? We need to talk to our kids more, find out what's going on, and actually get involved more with what's happening in our schools. So when we find out things like this, we know exactly whose asses to kick. Well, my name is Jaime, and this has been another episode of Meant to Vent Podcast News. Till next time, see ya.